Moo. Moo.
Come on, man. Oxen Pirates America. That's not America. That's not my America. I've seen guys like this Oxen Pirate, bad news every time, walking like they own the joint. Am I supposed to be scared of these? What? Dreadlocks, a couple of dreadnoughts, dreadlocks. Come on. Afraid because you play basketball? I play big man fall, pal. As in, I punch you in big man fall. You think I'm afraid of pirates? I've been defending America from pirates since before you were born. You'll need an eye patch for this black eye I'm going to give you. After I shove that peg leg up your ass. They want to gang up on me? Gang up on the old man? 3 against 1? Make my day, buddy. This Aladdin guy? Let's be real. Chicken marsala? Mango lassi? How about a knuckle sandwich kit? I hear he's got a flying carpet. That rug will be the doormat to my outhouse by sunset. No joke.
Big Oxen Pirate, save America. Big Oxen Pirate, chop down cherry tree with George Washington. Big Oxen Pirate beat the British in Revolutionary War. Big Oxen Pirate built the Continental Railroad. Big Oxen Pirate won the Civil War. Big Oxen Pirate, save America. Big Oxen Pirate, discover electricity. Big Oxen Pirate made the first flying machine. Big Oxen Pirate saved the world in World War I. Big Oxen Pirate saved the world in World War II. Big Oxen Pirate, save America. Big Oxen Pirate marched with Martin Luther King. Big Oxen Pirate landed on the moon with Neil Armstrong. Big Oxen Pirate saved America. Big Oxen Pirate shot guns with Ronald Reagan. Big Oxen Pirate smoked weed with Bill Clinton. Big Oxen Pirate played basketball with Barack Obama. Big Oxen Pirate made money with Donald Trump. Big Oxen Pirate took naps with Joe Biden. Big Oxen Pirate save America. Big Oxen Pirate save America. Big Oxen Pirate save America. Big Oxen Pirate save America.
Jeez, okay, Pirate. I see you added like an extra 20 pounds of muscle to everyone's arms or to your arms on those characters.
That didn't look like the right video.
How's everybody feeling?
Oh,
That's fine.
was that it? That didn't look like the ending scene. Oh,
that was it. Yeah.
how long was it? How long was that video?
4 minutes.
That was
4 minutes or
about
5
4
seconds.
minutes.
Yeah.
It was what you call it, like buffering and glitching pretty good though. So
yeah.
Was it all animated? Maybe because I was coming in, maybe the video like wasn't caught up when I saw it.
I saw it though.
Was it the animated one though, where we're like going around doing all kinds of stuff?
Yeah. No,
yeah, it was definitely the new one. Definitely the new one because the way it started, that was the original start.
All right, chat. Welcome to another episode.
Yo,
Big Ox Pirate featuring Jalen for politics in America. What's going on? And we got some big news to follow. Big news. We have Vivek Ramaswamy, top aide, President Donald Trump, formerly loved by the right until the statement was made. He made a tweet that shook up politics in the likes I haven't seen in a long time. In the likes I haven't seen, stirring the pot, people with opinions, some people saying, certain fragments of MAGA getting exposed, fracturing the party with this. So we're gonna go right to it and see, we're gonna read off the tweet and we'll go from there.
Real quick, I do want to say before we get into anything, I do want to say, we did lose an American president recently. Rest in peace to President Jimmy Carter. RIP to him and condolences to him and his family. I mean, when you make it to 100 years old, you've lived a hell of a life. I think it's more of a celebration of life than anything.
For sure.
He was one of those presidents that was loved by many and hated by many, but that's normal for any president. You know what I'm saying? And rest in peace to President Carter.
yeah, I'm wondering, is he the only president who's lived to be 100 years old? I think he's got to be. I can't think of anyone.
That's interesting. Yeah, I mean, most people don't live to 100.
I wouldn't know.
100.
Yeah, it
But even and absolutely rest in peace. I don't think he was a very effective president, but like what Ox just said, I'm not even sure that's true. To love it or hate him, I can't really think of anyone who would hate Jimmy Carter. Like as far as just a guy, he seemed to be just like a pretty great guy, a great human being on all accounts.
With any president, whether you agreed with him, liked him or not, there is a level of respect you give to a guy who did, reach the office, did what he did for the country, thought it was best. He passed away, and he's a person, he's a father, a brother, an uncle, you know what I mean? That before a president. So rest in peace.
Yeah, and even beyond like agreeing or disagreeing with his policies, and obviously the fact you become a president, that's a hell of an accomplishment in itself. But I think Jimmy Carter, he goes down as one of the, maybe not one of the greatest presidents, but definitely one of the greatest post-presidents. His life and accomplishments and achievements after he was president with the Habitat for Humanity and just always seemed to be a really great guy.
Yeah, I do think presidents essentially, actually, I think before Obama, they followed the Bush route in the sense of I guess Bush said it in words like he feels like it's best for presidents to stay in the background, not former presidents to be too much in the front. Maybe it's taken away from the current president. Things of that nature. I think that's changed now with Obama and Trump kind of being more in the forefront still after their presidencies, with Trump coming back, but even after Trump, he was still at the forefront. It is interesting how that dynamic has changed. Like you said, with Jimmy Carter, former presidents usually have some sort of initiative and do that, but it's never really at the forefront talked about as much. But it seems like with the last two guys, especially with Obama, take away Biden, Obama and Trump, they've still been somewhat at the forefront after the presidency. But on to Ox, you here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, so here.
Okay, yeah.
On to the news.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because I thought after Obama's president, I thought he would be out in the public a lot more than he actually has been.
I think he's been out there.
He seems to come around like during election season and campaign season, but I don't know. I guess I don't know exactly why I had that feeling, but I did feel like he was going to be someone who was, going to be in the media and out in the public a bit more than what he has.
I hear you. Didn't they have like a Netflix special, a book, like a $70 million book deal after he was done? Like, I feel like he was out there.
Those book deals.
Yeah,
it's funny you say book deal. I was just reading about that this morning. You know who just got a $20 million book deal?
Biden?
Kamala.
Oh, Kamala. Hey, shout out to 20 million. If I could lose an election spending $1 billion and still make 20 million, shoot, I'm in the wrong profession, pirate. I'm in the wrong profession. We
right? No, I mean these book deals, man. They're money laundering. Anyone? I don't know, but
that's crazy.
The Democratic Party just happened to be $20 million in debt after the election, and
that is such a steal, bro. That is such a win, like for anybody. Like book deals are crazy. Like I think book deals are like one of the best licks. You know what I'm saying? Like if I can do something interesting enough to write a book, because you don't know if you're gonna like the book before you buy it, but once you buy it, it's bought.
And you know what's crazy? All these presidents
once you buy it, it's bought.
All these presidents that quote unquote write these books, even like these TV anchors that come out books, they never write them. They have writers. They have writers.
Yeah, they got ghostwriters. 99% of the people with a name on a book, like
they're not actually writing.
They probably sat in the corner drinking a little brandy and talking, and some guy was just writing that.
Still, I mean, I essentially still wrote the book. I just don't have. I might not have the ability to articulate it the proper way and the ability to, actually write it down, put it on paper. And,
so that's not writing a book.
Somebody writing about your life, essentially.
I, as long as I'm still telling the story, you know what I'm saying? And like, I feel like
that's not writing a book.
Yeah,
that's like saying you made a movie, but you just kind of sat there and like told a story, and then someone else went out there.
It's not literally writing a book, but it is essentially the same thing, though. You know what I mean? So, as long as the thoughts are coming from me. But I wanted to say something about what you were talking about a second ago, Jalen. Like, if I was a president, I think I would have a hard time just not being out there anymore. Like if I was a president, I think once I left the president, I would be like, what am I gonna do now? Like I'm gonna, so I don't know. Actually, I don't know if we ever learned about that. Once I'm the president, I can go and be like a governor now, right?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I would stay in politics. Like I'm about to go be the governor. I'll be a mayor somewhere. Like I'm definitely not going back.
Yeah. The thing is, a lot of times we all talk about, the next chapter in life, whether even for athletes, after they finish playing, what are they going to do next? A lot of people find something that, they feel like is more, it can be more of a challenge for them in their life to get to a certain spot, whether that's like, let's say with Kobe, him doing the movies, him doing some of his investment stuff with Brian Steeble. Like he had a lot that's going on after an incredible playing career. To me, like after you're a president, that's the pinnacle. There's nothing bigger you will ever do in your life. Like respectfully, there's just not. You know what I mean? Like once you're the president, you reach the pinnacle of what you can really do as an individual, technically, right?
But I can still make an impact, like in like if it's like so for me, I'm from California. Yeah. If I had never been a mayor or a governor or anything like that, and I was president for a little bit, I'm like, you know what? I'm about to go home and be a governor and work on California. You know what I'm saying? Like it might not be the presidency. But as long as I'm still making a difference, I could see myself doing something like that.
Well, there are two presidents that I know of. I'm forgetting exactly who. One went on to the Supreme Court after being president, which is pretty tight. And then there was another president who went into the Senate. Went back to the Senate after Sir Arthur. Yeah, I can't quite remember.
These presidents are out here. Hey, shout out to all you presidents.
But yeah, I would try to stick in politics. I mean, I agree with Ox. I mean, especially like it seems like hopefully you'd have some fair amount of gravity and sway.
Yep. We got Dezo in the building, right on time. But we're gonna start, like I said.
Nice.
We're gonna go right off the bat and talk about this tweet that shook up politics. Something I haven't seen. So right to it, Vivek Ramaswamy.
Listen how excited you are. There may be some tension.
To me, this is the most exciting I've been politics in a long time. Pirate. The stuff I've been seeing going back and forth has been amazing. I'm telling you, I haven't seen it like this I haven't seen it like this since like, I'm trying to remember. Since like honestly, probably since like Trump's first time running. Because this time was cool. At first, it was a lot more just pulling.
Trump's got a way of mixing up the drink.
We're gonna talk about it. So here's Vivek.
Mixing up the drink.
The reason top companies often hire foreign-born, first-generation engineers over Native Americans isn't because of a Native American IQ deficit, a lazy or wrong explanation. A key part of it comes down to the C word, culture. Tough questions demand tough answers. And if we're really serious about fixing the problem, we have to confront the truth. Our American culture has venerated mediocrity over excellence for way too long, at least since 90s and likely longer. That doesn't start in college, it starts young. A culture that celebrates the prom queen over the math Olympiad champ or the jock over the valedictorian will not produce the best engineers. A culture that venerates Corey from Boy Meets World over Zach and Slater over Screech in Saved by the Bell, or Stefan over Steve Urkel in Family Matters will not produce the best engineers. Facts. I know multiple sets of immigrant parents in the 90s who actively limited how much their kids could watch those TV shows precisely because they promoted mediocrity. And their kids went on to become wildly successful STEM graduates. More movies like Whiplash, fewer reruns of Friends, more math tutoring, fewer sleepovers, more weekend science competitions, fewer Saturday morning cartoons, more books, less TV, more creating, less chilling, more extracurriculars, less hanging out at the mall. Most normal American parents look skeptically at those kinds of parents. Most normal American kids view those kinds of kids with scorn. If you grew up aspiring to normalcy is what you will achieve. Now close your eyes and visualize which families you know in the 90s or even know now who raised their kids according to one model versus the other. Be brutally honest. Normalcy doesn't cut it in a hyper-competitive global market for technical talent. And if we pretend like it does, we'll have our asses handed to us by China. This can be our funding moment. Yeah.
Real quick. Because everything he's saying is 100% correct.
Yeah.
I mean, I hear no lies.
Yeah,
but why would he say this?
Why would he say this?
Well, this is all tied into the last week or so.
Let me.
America, we have a society of some of the most sensitive people.
Facts.
He should know better than to say something like this.
I mean, of course, but hey, the hard truths need to be said. Hold up, so let me finish what he said. This could be our Sputnik moment. We've awakened from slumber before we can do it again. Trump's election hopefully marks the beginning of a new golden era in America, but only if our culture fully awakes. A culture that once again prioritizes achievement over normalcy, excellence over mediocrity, nerdiness over conformity, hard work over laziness. That's the work we have cut out for us, rather than the wallowing in victimhood and just wishing legislation, alternative hiring practices into existence. I'm confident we can do it. So that, Big Ox, angered a lot of the mega base, right?
A segment.
This is where we disagree.
A faction.
A segment fraction of the mega base. I'll say half. I'm saying half of the mega
base.
This is where it is. He's attacking white culture. He's attacking American culture.
He didn't say white. That's one thing. I don't know if people are saying he was attacking white people.
Hold on. We can go down the tweet and look at the responses. I've looked at the numbers of responses. Half of them borderline, get out of this country. We don't need him. These Indians don't know how to use the bathroom.
Dude, Twitter is not real life. You can't just take Twitter and protect it.
It's not just random Twitter accounts. These are also prominent Republican names.
They're fringe. A lot of them are fringe. A lot of they're the fringe.
They're the
ultra culture.
The white nationalist base of mega. This is the thing. The same mega group that has been touted, again, this could be a culture that Black Americans don't succeed in this country because of their culture, their rap music, the way their lifestyle, no fatherhood in the household. That's a debate to be had. Suddenly, when quote unquote white American culture gets canceled, oh, we can't talk about that. No, the white race is more supreme. We're not as these guys. Suddenly, it's offensive.
Jalen, be careful you're spitting right now, Jalen.
It's not white culture. It's American culture that he's attacking. It's American culture. No, but here's the thing. I generally agree with
white American culture.
I generally agree with. It sounds like. I mean, we're going to get into it, but I generally agree with Jalen's assessment of the situation. I'm personally I did not take offense at it, and I don't think he was attacking white culture in particular. He was attacking American culture, and of course that's going to ruffle the feathers of some people. Now there definitely is a faction on the right side, the Republican side. You know,
That's middle. That's who he was talking to was middle class white America, and I think that struck a nerve because it sounds like it struck a nerve, and you can see when so all of us. So Jalen, I know me and you are really close in age. Dezo, you're a little younger than us. Pirates, you're a generation over us, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I think we could all agree on one thing, though. We can all agree on the Indian, Asian, those kids whose parents were, you're doing this, you don't got time for that, you're going to school, you boom, 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 chess club, all that type of stuff. The ones that were in AP classes and their parents forced it. There was no, what do you want to do? It was, this is what you're doing. Those were the kids that were made fun of. They were ostracized. They were picked on. They were bullied. They were laughed at. Those were the weird kids, and those are the kids who are running companies, who are 23-year-olds driving Teslas. You know what I'm saying? Great credit. They got a good head on their shoulders. And,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
Great high-paying jobs.
Yeah.
And I think that should be spoken about, and I think that
Absolutely.
that we have as an American culture, we have always uplifted the athlete, the cool guy. All the movies are made about the jock, the girl next door. Oh, never been kissed, all that type of stuff. What we so on the graveyard shift, I usually keep it with amongst my specific demographic, and I'll talk about what we can do to make ourselves better. But as an American culture, it's even more expanded, where it's not just shoot 'em up, bang bang rap music, but it's also praising the asshole. I think you hit the nail on the head with this one, y'all.
Oh, I might think.
No, absolutely. I mean, we've talked about this.
I didn't. When you guys made the conclusion that he was only referring to white America.
No, I did not.
That was from the responses of the mega crowd of he's attacking white American culture because Saved by the Bell and those shows, they're considered quote unquote white American culture for a lot of people.
But he also mentioned Family Matters too. Like Family Matters is a prominent black show in our community, So I think he's talking about everybody as a whole.
The Black Americans, Hispanic Americans, American culture in general, for sure.
Let me say, we've talked about it before. Vivek is my guy. Vivek is the guy who I wanted to be president this time around, and hopefully, I'm hopefully going to vote for him in 4 years. I think the guy is brilliant. I completely agree with what he's saying, and I do find there is a segment of, there are some emotional people out there who get riled up on both sides, and I think.
Can you give us a rundown? Can you give us a rundown on Vivek, a little bit of his history, where he's from, what he's done, just a little for those of us that don't know?
Yeah, he's from America. He's he's first generation born in America. He's from India, I'm pretty sure, and he made a shit.
I'm just curious to know like where he grew up and stuff.
I'm not exactly. I think he grew up on the East Coast. I'm not exactly sure like what state he's from, but I just know he made a ton of money.
He's a billionaire
in financials, and he's got a tremendous head on his shoulders. As far as what I see in him and hear from him, is that he has bulletproof. He's got his history down. He's got his policies down. And he's able to synthesize information extremely quickly. So, if you put him in a debate situation, or just put him down to answer, a cold interview where he doesn't know what the questions are, he's the kind of guy you can take him down any route, and he doesn't just have a superficial answer. He's the kind of guy who synthesizes. All the information. He's able to relate what's happening now to crises from the 1900, 1800. He's got a great level of American history. world history and economics and just common sense, and he's able to articulate it very well. And I think to a person like me, everything that he said in that tweet makes absolute sense. I totally get it. I think let's just there's a good segment of average to below average IQ individuals walking the earth, right? And it's funny because a lot of the times you can you hear something and it sounds offensive, and you don't even realize that like you basically agree with what he's saying. I think a lot of these people are getting on him right now. They basically agree, but their emotions are the first thing that hurt it, because what he's saying is the reason why a lot of these people voted for Trump in the first place, because they think and they say that American culture has gone down the wrong direction. You know, the kids are being sent off to these public schools. They're getting the wrong education. Our values are going down the trash. Everything he's saying is actually, in its root sense, a big cause why a lot of these people, voted on his side and against the established norms that we have. But their emotions are the first thing that heard what he said, and some people are definitely taking it personal and thinking that they're just interpreting it as he's saying Americans are inherently dumb and Indians are smarter. Indians, Asians are inherently smarter.
I mean, look, I think the American.
I don't think that's what he's saying at all.
Yeah, no, that's not what he's saying. That's just what people want to take from it. I mean, look, if you look at, I saw this other kind of tweet too where they pointed out where if you look at the average math test for a sixth grader in India and China and even Russia versus America, they're doing, borderline, grade 12 university level math in grade 6, some of these things. Like it's just the way that their math, science, kind of and quote unquote STEM programs, which we're talking about here, are just far superior than what the Western culture. It's just.
And Jalen, we've talked about this before, and it's not the money being invested in the kids or them having the fastest computer programs. You don't need any of that to learn to read and write and do math at a high level. You don't need anything more than a pencil and paper, and you can go into the corner and you don't need any resources at all. It is a cultural thing, and most people, if you're willing to be honest, and America has been going down the wrong road. We've been teaching the generation after generation. It's been getting looser and looser and further away from traditional values that teach you, hey man, you got to work hard. Life's not going to give you anything if you don't put in the time and the effort. Like, don't expect to wake up 3 years from now and be in some great place. And that's what these kids are being taught from the time they're born. And those are the basic life lessons that we as a culture and nation of 350 people have, kind of slacked behind. We're not like the worst in the world, but yeah, a lot of the traditional principles of work ethic that America used to be exceptional at, over the last 20, 30 years, it's gone the wrong direction.
And there's another debate where I saw where somebody said, a lot of these the value entertainment guy, he's really big. What's his name again?
What now? Which guy?
Remember he does value entertainment on YouTube. He does Patrick David.
Patrick Bet David?
Yeah, Patrick Bet David. He chimed in himself, being an immigrant, come to this country, working hard. There was a tweet about 80-hour work weeks. A lot of people, if you want to be successful, work 80-hour work weeks. These immigrants are willing to put in the work, skip birthdays, skip holidays, right? And then the chime comes in with a lot of the mega crowd. 80-hour weeks is not American. We can't be slaves to companies. That kind of narrative talking point. Well, the fact is, a lot of successful people work 80-hour weeks in the highest professions. A lot, like Patrick David said, the people who created your iPhones, your laptops, all that, a lot of them, when they started their companies, were working 100-hour weeks. It was no sleep. You grind and work until you figure it out.
This show, Oxen Pirates America, the very first episode that was brought up, the very first episode towards the end, we were talking about something, and I was like, you know, sometimes you got to put in 50, 60, 70 hours a week. And there were some people in chat who are against it. Like, oh, I don't want to do that. You know, I just want to work my 40 hours and have a great life. And I'm just saying, man, if you want this world where it's like, you don't have to be an exceptionally smart person. You don't study exceptionally hard. You don't have a huge bag of skills that nobody else has. But you want to wake up and just go to work for the minimum of 40 hours a week. But then you expect to be able to come home and you're going to own a house, you're going to own a nice car, and you're going to be able to go on vacation for a month or two. I don't know what kind of world, you know, and you're going to be able to go out and buy a $15 Caesar salad for lunch every fucking day. And you have cable and you have internet and you have a cell phone. And that's just the way it is for all 350 million people in the world. I mean, you're living in La La Land, you know.
100%. People have to realize, you know, hard work is not easy. And so what do you think about this, Dezo?
Well, hey everybody, I'm Dezo the introvert. I just wanted to, political sciences was never my expertise in high school. You know what I'm saying?
Wait, that's another thing.
Pretty hard.
That's another thing.
I'm here.
But hey, Americans love. I saw again popular degrees, right? Business #1, you know, that's a lot. Accounting, marketing, all that, right? Americans compared to other countries love psychology degrees. Love, American
sociology
degrees. Yeah, sociology.
But now we're even getting to gender studies.
You know what? Kids in China, you think the parents of kids in India and China would get what would happen if they say, "I want to study psychology"? Might get slapped in the face talking about psychology. They understand.
Hey, Dad, can I get $400,000 for a master's degree in gender studies?
I gotta stop y'all right there. I gotta stop you right there because we were on some, we were going somewhere. We went way over. There is nothing. Sociology is a hell of a degree. You need in certain in the world we need social workers.
Hey, if you want to go to law school,
we need social workers. We need social workers. We need psychiatrists. We need all of that. So my thing is, what is success to you? What is success to every individual person? Now, some people want to be millionaires, billionaires. Well, you don't go get a sociology degree. You work $80, $100 hours a week. You be an entrepreneur and you be a billionaire. To me, success isn't about being a billionaire or a millionaire. It's about living the life that you want to live. Some people want to work 40 hours a week, come home, see their kids, spend their PTO to go on a week or two vacation once a year. That's what success looks like to them. That's
a good life.
Just being an active, productive member of society is what success looks like to a lot of people. I've found myself on the other side where I've been like, man, come on, you got to get it, you got to get it, you got to get it. And I finally came to the realization, everybody don't got the drive I got. Everybody doesn't care about being a millionaire. No, a lot of people do not want the responsibility of being a multimillionaire. It's just for some people, it's just too much to ask. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
So what I'm not going to do is disrespect and discredit people going to college for 4 years to get sociology degrees, get psychology degrees, philosophy, which is crazy. But if that's what you want to do, you know what I'm saying?
Well, I'm not disrespecting. All of that. Don't come crying if you're not making $100K off of graduation. Right.
Well, that's not what that is called. Isn't choosing a bad degree. That's called being irrational.
True.
You know what I'm saying? Yep. That's just being delusional, irrational, and wanting instant gratification. If you're just going straight and like, I'm not making $500,000. Well, that wasn't in the cards for you, and you chose this route. That's delusional. That's delusional for any entrepreneur that's been trying to build a business for 5 years. You're trying to build a business for 5 years and you haven't made $100 million and you're mad about it. Well, you're delusional. You know what I'm saying? And that's
that's why I think a lot of people are delusional. And the deal with delusion is that you hear delusion and you associate it with like the extreme delusion. No, most people aren't extremely delusional. Most people are a little bit delusional. Most people are like they just wake up and they just have a constant thing eating at them. It's like I don't need to be a billionaire or a millionaire, but man, if I was just making like 25% more than I'm making now, life would be so much better. And the world is unfair because I can't make 25% more.
America would not be America if the majority of majority of us were making that much money. That's just not the American way. That's not what capitalism is. You know what I'm saying? The majority of us have to be workers. The majority of us cannot go to Hawaii 2-3 times a year. If that's what it was, capitalism would not work. You know what I'm saying?
It's not capitalism because there sure are a hell of a lot of socialist countries out there. We can't do that either. But nobody in the country can do it.
I'm talking about America though. We can't. You can't do that. Somebody got to work. You know what I'm saying?
That's true. Not everyone can just be a CEO.
Somebody got to work. You know, in a lot of companies, everybody can't go to the holiday party. Who gonna run the business?
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. But hey, speaking of the American,
there's a finish. You were saying something though. There's almost get into that.
Well, yeah, I was just saying how growing up, there was a lot of it is mostly a cultural thing. When you guys were talking about earlier, I feel like a lot of kids grow up, not knowing that education is going to be something that leads them down a path to find that better job, that better career, that better income that you're looking for. A lot of kids grow up thinking, you know what, we look up to these, athletes, these celebrities, these people who made it off of the backbone of, selling themselves, selling their bodies. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of people that grow up looking up to those kind of people. And that's what people strive for nowadays. That's what people like. The new wave is these Kick and YouTube streamers and these Twitch streamers nowadays that are blowing up, the Kai Cenats of the world. And now we're looking towards them to be like, oh yeah, I want to be a streamer. But it's like, the thing is, not everybody. It's only 12 slots on the.
It's a tough path. It's a tough path. Like, all for aspiring to be a great athlete. All the starting quarterbacks in high school, a few of you will make the NFL. Without a doubt, you'll live a great life. But for a lot of you, are going to go to college, hopefully get that degree. Because if you don't, and you just go into the world, it's going to be tough, right? A lot of these high school starting quarterbacks who had dreams of the NFL, and then that didn't work out, don't have backup plans, and they end up working at a really terrible job, making very little money, and it sucks.
Mm-hmm. Well,
I mean, the kickers always go to school.
To what you were saying, though, Dezo, that really hit home because my oldest son, he lives with his mom majority of the time in California. And so I get him for holidays and all that, summertime and stuff, right? So he was up here for Thanksgiving, and we taking a walk because like the schools, it's offset. So he's up here, my other kids are still at school, so we kicking it by ourselves during the day until they get home. So we're just taking a walk after the panel, and he's like, we're having a conversation. Because he was acting up in school a little bit, so I'm trying to explain to him some things, and a lot of the same conversations I had when I was younger. And I'm like, so what do you plan on being? Like, what do you plan on doing with your life? I'm gonna be a YouTuber. I was pissed. I was pissed. He said, "Yeah, you do YouTube." He said, "You do YouTube." I said, "Oh shit." I said, "You're right. That's right. That's right." But it's not the same thing. I'm like, but what do you plan on doing while you're building up your YouTube? Because I'm like, what do you plan? How do you want to pay your bills? You think you're just gonna stop? You're just gonna, you know what I'm saying? You're just gonna do YouTube and be able to pay your bills? Like, I know you don't think I'm finna pay your bills. You know what I mean? Unless it's one of those situations where if you're going to school, you're focused on school, you're working hard for a goal, then by all means, come on, I got you. You good over here. Like I'm never gonna be the parent to. You're 18, get out of my house. Nah, hell no. Stay here as long as you possibly can. Stay here as long as you want to, as long as you're being a productive member of this family and a productive member of society. You're always welcome under my roof. You know what I'm saying? So there's that. But like, you're not gonna just be sitting in my house on YouTube.
He can have a job full time.
So, I'd like to bring it back to the visa stuff a little bit,
Now, the H-1B1 visas.
Yeah, talk about the American culture and the difference, but because it's a really interesting topic. It's a really interesting faction of obviously immigration has been huge and was huge in the election. This is a branch of the immigration that gets talked about a lot less than the hordes of people crossing the border. This is like the upper class section of immigration, and since this popped up in the last week or so, I've done a lot of research and learned a lot of stuff about these particular visas that I didn't know before. And you can now, I know the left side of the media and culture is looking to say the right is tearing itself apart at every turn. But personally, I'm glad that something like this, gets aired out and there's a public debate about it, because there is a problem here. I think there's a problem here, and it's not just a one-directional problem. It's a multifaceted problem. It is a fairly broken system that isn't working out great for the immigrants or for America. And personally, I think this visa system does need to be changed to help out both sides, to help out the people who are the immigrants that are coming in, and to help out the American workers. Because right now it is kind of a scam system. The only people who are really profiting are the middlemen. The middlemen, kind of recruiters for the immigrants, are profiting, and the big corporations are profiting. But the actual immigrants themselves are being exploited a pretty decent amount, and the American workers are.
Why do you say exploited? In terms of
how are they? They're exploited in a few ways. So they get these visas and they come to America, but they come kind of as an indentured servant to the corporation that sponsored their visa. So they get this visa because they say that they're a skilled worker that has a particular skill that America needs, but that visa is tied to that one company that promised them a job to get them the visa. They can't leave that company. So when they get these visas, they come to America and say they got it for Microsoft or they got it for Google. Well, if they got it for Google, they come to America and they can't leave Google. They can't work for another company. They're indentured to Google, and that sets up a pressure. That sets up pressure on these workers. That's one of the reasons why these particular workers are working 12 and 14-hour days, are because their visa and right to be in America is tied to this company, and if this company fires them, they have to leave the country.
Okay, I understand what you're saying for sure. They're kind of indebted to the company, but that's kind of with anything. Look, if a company pays for my master's degree, I have to sign something saying I have to be there for 5 years. Am I enslaved to the company? No, I made the decision to go work for the company. They offered me something, like they're offering them a visa to come work here and still pay them.
Jalen, that's collusion. That's collusion. Why not say, if this person apparently has a skill set that is beneficial to America, and we give them the visa once they come to America, if there's some issue if they go to Google and there's some issue with their position at Google, but they're apparently a skilled worker and they have the ability to go over to Microsoft, then why can't they do that? Why shouldn't they be allowed to do that?
Well, hold on. With the visa, if your job doesn't work out, there is a process to go get a job with another company through that visa, right? So it's not just strictly like there is a process for doing that. A lot of the times, these guys are vetted a ton, where they'll stay at the company for I don't know. Again, I don't know if they're signing contracts to stay at them for a couple of years or whatever the case may be. Every visa has different rules based on the skill set, right? Some of the people they bring in are a lot more skilled than others, without a doubt, and people who are at the top of that are going to have less restrictions. You know what I mean? Because even the companies understand the value. Like if this person was being recruited by Facebook, Microsoft, Google, they're going to have less restrictions on their particular visa.
They shouldn't have any restrictions, because those restrictions are factors that make that depress their wages, which leads to the domino effect that is upsetting the Americans who are saying, well, it's like they're able to take a job from me because in effect they are a cheaper labor. It's not quite the same as the illegal immigrant who crosses the Mexican border and
definitely not
becomes a roofer, and so he's depressing the wages for roofers, and so American roofers can't get the jobs. It's not the exact same, but they're distinct parallels. It stems from when you have a certain workforce in the country, that has these stipulations and restrictions on their ability to work, that is going to depress wages for the entire workforce.
This workforce we're talking about are, you know, the STEM graduates, but I mean, predominantly.
No, and also, it's being sold. The people who are just fully back proponents of it, they sell it as it's a fully merit-based process, but it's not. It should be, it needs to be, but it's not. It's a broken system where there are all these recruiters in these other countries, and they go and they recruit workers to apply for these visa positions. And I was just reading about it a couple days ago. It's kind of a whole scam thing. There are all these people. They go and they rob Peter to sell Paul. They promise you a job in America before you even actually have the position on lockdown to put you on the application list. And then the way that the application list works, if more than one company says that sponsors you to come into America, your chance of actually getting the visa skyrockets. And so it's a lot of the people who are actually getting these visas aren't the actual most qualified people, even from their own country, who are applying for the visa. They're just the people who are playing the game.
Okay, wait, hold on. So sure, you can make the case that there's corruption going on within the country. People can pay for a slot and they can get hired. But one, the interview they have with Google, Facebook can't be faked. And if we're talking about merit-based hires, the whole right in the situation are saying, oh, we don't care if these Indian American, Chinese American, whoever it is, immigrant comes in, are more talented than us. We deserve the job. I saw people saying, hey, if my grandpa fought in World War II, I deserve a job. Guess what? In America, the American way, you want to be merit-based? I could, hey, shout out to your grandpa for fighting in World War II. You know, God bless him. If I'm running $1 billion company, I could care less. I'm hiring the best person for the job.
But Jalen, that's what I'm saying. I would completely agree with you. I would completely agree with you if it was fully merit. But it's not.
Cheaper quality labor.
It's cheaper labor. It's cheaper labor, so they're not just beating out the American workers just based on merit. Because if they are exactly as qualified as the American worker, they are cheaper. They get paid less. And so that's so there are American workers who are losing jobs to people with these visas who are not more qualified.
The American way.
They're just a cheaper option.
The business is going to hire the most talented person, and then if I have 10 talented people who are all capable, I'm gonna hire the guy who I can get for the cheapest. That's the business model of America.
Dude, Jalen, right now you are defending the corporation's interest, which I'm not a person. I'm not even saying the number of people who are receiving these visas year to year should go down. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying don't give these people visas. I'm saying the way the system is set up right now is exploiting the workforce. And I'm not, you know me, I'm like one of the biggest free market. Like I don't.
Yeah,
like,
you know me.
I'm a free market guy. All right. So
except now,
I'm not the guy who's like down with the rich, down with the corporations. For the most things, I want corporations to be super low taxed and unregulated. But I don't want something like this, because I've looked into it, and this is a system this is not a free market. This right now is kind of a scam that is benefiting you. It's hurting the American workers and penalizing the immigrants. So
that's but hold on, most of the people look, and I know some people, high level engineers, even high level in finance, who are in these H-1B1 visas, they get paid incredibly well. Like, I'm talking about, like, they're getting paid $250K, 175 plus bonuses. Like, a lot of these guys get paid really well. So this idea that everyone who comes in is just going to pay like $40,000, it's not real.
No, that's not what I'm saying at all. But I'm saying if they're getting 200,000, they're beating out an American guy who would be getting like 250 or 300,000 for that.
Well, hold on. But a lot of times they're just more talented than the American people.
Real quick, can I ask a question?
Go ahead.
I just wanted to ask, what makes it so they can hire these people for the cheap? Like, why would
the only reason they do this too is because the talent is not here in America in STEM. It's just not,
because they have the.
But if somebody from another country is talented in STEM, why would they accept a lower offer from a company when they could go to a different company who was hiring them for even more money. You know,
Well, no,
what I mean?
everyone knows
If I'm-
Silicon
if I'm
Valley-
over-
because the company doesn't have to offer them full market value because the inherent pressure exists that they want to come to America. They want this visa to come to America, so that's intrinsically is a pressure on the way.
Silicon Valley has the highest wages.
They will accept less than the average American worker to do the same job.
Because when you're leaving a country,
the average American worker doesn't need to come to America, so that's off the table. Whenever in any negotiation, whenever you put anything on the table, it affects the negotiation.
But we also realize the average American STEM grad, average American kind of software engineer or STEM graduate engineer doesn't have the skill set of a lot of these foreigners that come in. They don't have the skill set for them to deserve that $300K a year salary, that $250K that a lot of these people do. Like the talent,
a lot of them don't, and that's why this is such an interesting topic because there are a lot of ins and outs to it. There's the American educational system. There's the visa system as it's currently constructed. There is the cultural element of that. It touches on so many things, like all the way down to kindergarten through college for the average American versus the immigrant, but then also the pressure of being an immigrant and wanting to come to America. That's gonna put a pressure that's gonna depress the wages.
And I agree with you that these companies are sometimes taking advantage of visas and paying a low wage, especially for some of the lower level stuff. They definitely take advantage without a doubt. Right, that's what and I agree with you there. My thing is though, again, speaking with people who are in high level positions at Facebook, Google, Nvidia, companies of that nature who kind of use these H-1B visas too. A lot of the people who are saying this is being exploited, this is being taken advantage of, mass corruption. Everyone in those high level positions, that's not the case. They really say they want to hire American, but they can't because the talent isn't there. It's just not there. There's hiring managers who they go to some of the top universities here, right, of Americans who are born here, and the talent level of them is not that of people that are coming from China and India. It's just not. So in one way, I can understand you want to support people, your citizens in your country. You want to make sure that, that they have opportunities. But again, from a party that for the past decade, let's get rid of affirmative action. Let's stop the DEI stuff, which is cool. Which I get. There's definitely an argument for that. Suddenly, they want a DEI hire for an American citizen. They want affirmative action for a white American. That's not going to happen.
Jalen, I don't know. I personally, I don't see this as a racial issue. I don't see how this particular
I think you're being blind. I think you don't want to see it as a racial issue, Pirate. Things that I've seen online, this is full on racial.
I'm willing to see racial issues as racial issues. I see this as a cultural issue. This is the American culture versus the world's culture and the culture that these workers are coming from. Like I don't care. I don't care what when we're talking about ex-American employee and Y Indian employee. I know you don't. For each position. I don't care if the American worker is black, white, Hispanic, Asian, or whatever. That's not. I know you don't. I don't want to change the structure of this visa system to protect white worker. I don't give a fuck about some white guy I don't know about any more than I give a fuck about some black guy I've never met. Man, I don't give a fuck. I'm just talking about American workers versus. And again, I'll say it again. I don't think that the number of visas should be lowered. But I think we should restructure it. The worker that comes should have absolute freedom so that they can transfer in the workforce and so that their wages will not be depressing themselves. They should be able to get paid exactly what they're worth, and they shouldn't be having their pay lowered. And extra restrictions and indentured servitude to the corporation that's going to trickle down and affect the rest of the American workforce.
I hear you. I just can't. I'm not going to fight for someone who's getting paid $250K and maybe they deserve $325. That's not something I'm going to do. $250, $325.
Yeah, that's what I'm.
You know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying. Are these people who are getting hired for these jobs are their wages at least enough to like
they're way high.
Oh, they're well paid. Yeah, no, we're talking about well paid people.
Yeah, these are like
these are all
yeah. These aren't like $35,000 a year. No. This is you know, the
Again,
upper
this is like this is the upper class of the immigrant situation.
Because I was more so thinking this conversation was going to go in a direction where you know, Tyson came out the other like, I don't know, maybe a few months ago, saying like, you know, they're hiring only like, you know, outside of America, like they're hiring foreign based people for their workforce, and I'm thinking they can get away with paying them well below what somebody from America would probably get paid for doing the same job. You know, I was thinking that's where the conversation was going. But if these people who are getting hired from India and Asia are making, you know, $250,000, like, I mean, that's
These are high level jobs.
No, yeah, and that's that's why I don't think this is going to tear apart the right, or even like I don't see this as a huge. This isn't a huge issue because like everybody, nobody's going to have the maximum sympathy for anybody involved in this entire situation, because we're talking about American workers who are highly skilled, and you know, when they work they get paid. We're talking about immigrants who are highly skilled and they get paid. We're talking about multi-billion-dollar corporations that have a high profit line. So
these are the immigrants struggling to get a job. You know, working at a cat, like these are high level, like what Pirate said.
But I think the fissure that Jalen's pointing to it's kind of exposing the diversity of, you know, thought of all the people who voted on the right, who feel like immigration is a big issue. You know, I mean, there's a lot of ins and outs. Like, people don't have a monolithic opinion on immigration. This is exactly what we should do, and you know, and so people come at it for different reasons. And you know, like Jalen was saying, he said it was half, but that are these the cultural white people who are really tied to being white and protecting white America from the invasion of other cultures, and you know them. So there are those people who their motivation in the immigration discussion is a lot more on that cultural white versus the world thing but you know, there are all types of Republicans and people on the immigration who are looking at immigration for a variety.
You know what Steve Bannon say?
Well, yeah, Steve Bannon. I mean, you know, that's what I'm saying. Like you're talking about the Steve Bannons and the Laura Loomers and you know,
that's like there's a strong percentage of the base that really look up to those people. Like Steve Bannon has a good amount of that base supporting him. It's not like a fragment or small. And that's the thing.
It's not a fragment, no, it's not a fragment. But I mean, like I said, there's. I told you before, like I don't really respect too much the bottom quartile of the left or the right. You know, I mean, yeah, there are some bucktooth hicks on the right who will say some wild shit, and then there's some crazy on the left. There's some crazy guy with a pink mohawk who's a communist, and it's like, I mean, there are a ton of crazy people fucking all over for all different reasons.
But the following of Steve Bannon is not small. We gotta understand it. That's the thing. Like,
it's not
huge. Ultra right wing. He's like an ultra right wing about, you know, basically. How would you define?
Is he a mayor? Is he a politician, or is he
just kind of a? How would you define?
Well, yeah, he's like, you know, he's a culture warrior, you know,
white Americans lives matter type of deal.
White
white race is being forgotten, white culture being forgotten, or race type of deal. Very that, yeah. He's very like that. And again,
race. But dude, honestly, I don't know why we would be surprised that there are white people who live in this cultural world of protecting your ethnicity, because I mean, I see it. Everyone I meet, whether you're fucking white or black or Cambodian or fucking you know, Honduran, or I mean, you know, everybody to some level you know, has a certain affinity for your own culture. Some people take it overboard. Some people take it overboard, and it's like their whole you know, existence. You know, you see it everywhere, and so yeah, I mean, there's a segment of white people who live in that world.
I do want to touch on kind of the racial aspects and kind of the Indian American side that Siddharth here, I think, eloquently stated with his tweet. Yeah, I'm deeply questioning my decision to support the Republican Party after witnessing the persistent and dehumanizing attacks directed at me and my community by individuals, despite hiding behind a veneer of respectability, openly harbor and amplify racist ideologies. I've tried to hold on to the belief that these voices represent a vocal minority, not the broader values of the party, but time and time again, I'm disheartened as a counter with massive followings, many of whom wielding significant influence, parrot unhinged conspiracy theories, and perpetuate overly racist tropes without consequence. This isn't just about isolated comments or fringe behavior. It's about a pattern that reveals uncomfortable truth about the party's failure to unequivocally reject bigotry. These attacks aren't simply offensive. These are alienating to communities whose values, work ethic, and aspirations align with many conservative principles, yet find themselves consistently vilified, uncomfortable truth about the party's failure to unequivocally reject bigotry. These attacks aren't simply offensive. They are alienated communities whose values, work ethic, and aspirations align with many conservative principles, yet find themselves consistently vilified. The most troubling part is the normalization of this rhetoric by individuals who should be using their platforms to unite, not divide. It forces one to ask: is this truly the exception, or is it a reflection of an undercurrent that the party is unwilling or worse uninterested to confront? For a movement that claims to champion individuality, individual dignity, and opportunity, it's disheartening to see those ideals betrayed by voices that choose hate over inclusion. The Republican Party wants to grow, evolve, and truly represent a diverse and forward-thinking electorate. It must take a hard look at blind spots and voice that elevates. Without the reckoning, it risks alienating not just me, but countless others who once believed its promise. I just want to say, right, that's the opinion. And a lot of people I've spoken to kind of are relating with this. There was a smugness about a lot of these Indians, whether Asians, you can say the Asian community, high level Chinese Indians, that the Republican Party just hates other immigrants. They hated the Hispanic immigrants who came across the border illegally, working these low paying jobs. They hated, or they might have disliked Black culture because their culture is considered lazy, not educational. There was a smugness amongst a lot of these Asian immigrants that, because a lot of them come from super educated backgrounds, high level tech, corporate life, they live in these jobs, that, we're welcomed. The reaction that Vivek had, who's kind of, you could say is a dream of many, come to this country, becomes a billionaire, successful business, all that, that he was accepted into the club. He was, loved, liked. The reaction that he's at and the racism that he's experienced opened the eyes to a lot of these Asian Republicans that, hey, maybe they still don't look at us as an American, and they never will. Like, there really is a belief like that. And
I think you're tripping, dude. I think you're tripping.
I think there is. And again, these are conversations.
I think that's a tiny sliver of what very many people are thinking. And I think
this way I disagree, though. I think this is our major disagreement here, is that the Republican Party, I generally believe now 50%, like what Hillary said, I think 50% are just on the white nationalists.
I think right now what you're doing is you're kind of projecting the left worldview onto the people who are Republicans, and expecting these people who are Republicans to see and respond to these things as if
it's not my view. I wrote it what he says and what a lot of his colleagues within the space are thinking.
I don't think it's a lot. I don't think a lot of people are just going to switch their worldview. Look, one of a certain pseudo fundamental trait of being a more conservative person is that your brain, the way that you think, just doesn't get wrapped up in this emotional fucking bullshit.
It's not emotional.
Because I know conservative Indians and conservative Chinese people, and they don't just like me. I don't take fucking super offense over this like cultural you're offending my culture thing. It's just like that fucking. Remember the Puerto Rican joke that the comedian told at the rally, right? A couple weeks before the election. You remember how the left media covered the narrative of that joke? They came out and they were so certain that this comedian telling this Puerto Rican joke, you just lost all of the Puerto Rican vote. No Puerto Rican in America is going to vote conservative now
That was
because
just a because of the
you
joke.
told this joke, and they don't understand that all the Puerto Rican conservatives in America, they don't give a fuck about that joke.
Yeah, but,
You know,
I'm with you there.
And-
A joke's a joke. I'm with you there, but this wasn't a joke.
so I mean,
Like,
this
the
is
fact
what
that they make
happens.
it a
Like the left media looks at these situations and they expect. I know a ton of black conservatives too. Like black conservatives that I know, they tend to react to these types of things just in a more conservative way. Where, like, frankly, the way I view all this stuff is like I don't give a fuck what the I pretty much never give a fuck what the general sentiment is. What's the vibes? What's the vibes in America? And how did this hurt people's feelings and stuff? I don't give a fuck, man. I just look. I
hear you. I hear you,
I
Pirate.
see
You
that
about the
there's some policy.
Yeah.
Right now, we're talking about this visa policy. So it's like, okay, bring it up. And then again, as a conservative person, you kind of view the world as if you expect everybody out in the world to be defending their own personal interests, you know? So I expect the Indian worker, he wants to fucking get that visa, come over, get the job. I expect the fucking American worker, he doesn't want to lose his job or have his wages go down, and I expect the American corporation to defend their interests and try to get the cheapest labor possible. So it's like you just look at the actual factors of the situation. You see if there's a problem, and then you try to fix the problem. I don't give a fuck about if some guy in Iowa just said something that hurt some guy's feelings over in Brooklyn. Like,
Look, I
that's not pragmatic, you know?
100%. I hear you. You're strictly on the policy side, and I completely agree with you. Policy side, perfectly up for debate. But I think you're ignoring the blatant racism by a big fraction of the party, and maybe not ignoring. Maybe you just don't want to give you don't want to give them time of day because that gives them more the following or thing. Which again, that's one way to look at it.
I'm not ignoring. I acknowledge. I believe that virtually everyone on Earth is quote unquote racist to some certain extent. Like everyone I met.
That's a different conversation. I mean, sure, I see what you're trying to say.
No, and it expresses itself. It expresses itself in different ways. But I think within that race, I'm going to say quote because it encompasses so much. You don't want to go down some branch. But within that, I think most people are not like maliciously racist.
That's the thing. A lot of the attacks on Vivek were malicious. It wasn't jokes. It wasn't light. It was straight on malicious.
Dude, you're equating Twitter to the real world.
No,
like,
it's not just Twitter, though. It's not just Twitter. It was Nick Fuentes.
People go online and say kill yourself all the time. Like that doesn't. It's the internet, dude.
These aren't like those egg picture people. These are people with following, with 250,000 followers, 300,000, a million followers. Dang it! These are people with followings, prominent individuals within the party. This is not just some random Joe Blow with 60 followers, like you said in Iowa. That I could care less about. These are prominent individuals, and if you see all of them, if you see all the replies, when literally half are on that malicious racist side, we have to call it out. Let's get Dezo in here. Dezo, what do you think of this? What's your take on it? We haven't heard from Dezo in a little bit.
What do you think, Dezo? Is Ox still here?
No, I think he has to do something.
No, Ox.
Yeah.
Okay, because I don't have any visuals, so I don't mean to cut anybody off, but I just can't.
No,
I can't.
hey,
see
actually, your camera froze like a while ago.
Yeah, your camera froze a while ago.
Did it really? Okay. Yeah.
The picture that you have right now, like if the freeze frame is so hard that you don't even.
Yeah, we just kept you. You look good. You look good.
Yeah, you look good. You look good on freeze frame.
You looking like George Clooney.
So
I'm gonna relog in. Talk for a minute to give me time to.
Okay, word. So real quick, I just want to just catch up to speed because like I'm saying, I'm not really the most into politics side of things. I'm basically a casual when it comes to this, kind of stuff. So I read that I was listening to that eloquent quote that you just put up there, yeah. And I'm thinking to myself, so the issue that we have right now is that there's this guy who is pointing out that the right, mostly white Republicans are mad about the fact that all these immigrants are coming in and taking jobs from the white American workforce. Is that correct?
I mean, they want America first.
Sad.
Yeah, they're
Yes.
saying that their kids aren't getting jobs, it's going to the immigrants. They,
Mhm.
they, you know, they want DEI hires. They want affirmative
Mhm.
action for their kids, which is crazy because again, they were fighting against it for a while. But continue.
Yeah. So in my opinion, this is what America is. I mean, it's time. All right. Let me just say this. I like competition and everything, right? And I think competition is good for basically every gist of life. You know what I'm saying? If you don't have competition, then nobody's gonna rise to the top. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's gonna be nobody's gonna have that will and desire to rise to the occasion. So if these white Americans are passing down jobs to their kids, then there's no effort in that. There's no like will and desire to want to better yourself when it comes to that. So if you have these immigrants who come in and are hungry for those jobs, are hungry for, hey, I'm a first generation, born American, and I really want this job. You know what I'm saying? I really need this opportunity. Then that's gonna show a level of determination that a lot of these white American kids nowadays grow up not having. You know what I'm saying?
There's some
And
Black and Hispanic Americans too who just for
Yeah.
American culture,
Yeah.
who are on
Yeah.
that side too.
and that's true as well, because I'm not gonna lie, a lot of my friends growing up, they didn't have that determination, they didn't have that will. So I'm not saying it's just a white American thing, it's an American thing. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of kids grow up not not wanting to thinking that everything should be handed to them. And if this is a way to wake people up and be like, hey, it's not going to be that easy, you know what I'm saying, then I'm all for it. I'm all for it.
It's just crazy how they were so offended by being called lazy and the culture is not creating the most intelligent individuals, when they've been kind of saying that for the past decade. American culture needs work, the education system needs work. Like, Vivek said everything that people were saying. It's just because they were kind of directly attacked, people started crying and getting offended.
Yeah, and like I feel the ramifications are going to be beneficial. Like I was talking to my mom the other day. She's planning on going back to school, because it's a lot of jobs that are in desperate need of better workforce, and that caught me by surprise. I'm like, wow, like my mom's even trying to better herself. You know what I'm saying? It's like a lot of people are waking up to the fact that maybe going down this path, going down the education path, going down the path of trying to better yourself will result in you wanting the life or getting the
Prompt
life.
engineering and AI is such a they are struggling to fill those job positions because people just don't have
AI,
right? Prompt
and
engineering and AI. So,
and I've been seeing a lot of those commercials recently about I think it's a guy in a bathrobe and he's sitting at a pool, SAP, I think. There's a campaign for that going around, or I don't even know if it's called SAP, but it's a good campaign for that going around where he's basically talking about how people are trying to hire AI for AI engineers, and that's a big topic of discussion nowadays. So I don't know. I like the fact that the competition that immigrants come in with. I like the fact that competition. Now it all depends on the kind of immigrants that let in. Obviously you don't want to let any and everybody in. Like I agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all for it. It's an American tradition to go fucking pilfer all the geniuses from every country, man. Like that's what we're built on. Like, we wouldn't have won. Well, we might not have won World War II. We hadn't gotten all those fucking Germans and figure out how to make a nuke. So, like, I'm all for the merit and anyone around the world who is an exceptional talent and wants to come to America, absolutely. But yeah, that system the visa system needs to change. And again, like, usually I'm not a huge gotta defend the workers' rights, but you know, in this situation, I think it needs to be
You don't want the big
and that's why I hope. That's why I don't give a fuck what people are feeling about it. I just hope that the right policy gets passed, because there's I call it the 33% rule, where most things and most decisions in life, and especially decisions that governments have to make, usually there's the rational correct decision, and then on either side of the rational correct decision, the more vocal opinions that are being talked about on a day-to-day from one side and the other are actually like the two wrong decisions battling it out. And like neither of them want to let the other side get to the actual right decision that you'll probably only stumble upon 33% of the time, because most of the time one of those vocal decisions from either side is going to take up all the airspace in the room.
We didn't even discuss Elon Musk. Elon Musk was a big part of this too, because he's a very strong proponent of H-1B1 visas. Again, him being
of course he is, because he represents the big business side of it. You know, he wants to get his labor for as cheap as possible.
And this is the interesting thing. This is the interesting that I noticed with the Republican Party now is, again, someone framed it this way. I thought there's two: MAGA 1.0 versus 2.0. The original kind of Trump supporters, middle America, blue collar, working class, was his predominant voice, and really kind of won the election for him, right? And then now you have people like Elon Musk, Vivek come and support these quote unquote billionaire tech guys, the elitists of the elite, and who are loved when they were giving money to Trump's campaign. I think Elon gave over $200 million. Something like that, which again, your money, give as much money as you want. I could care less. But now the hate towards Elon and Vivek after their stance on his H-1B1 visas and just flipped of a script, how do you think that plays out?
I think you're incorrect in your initial premise right there, in that you can never describe the base of whatever party wins. It's never one thing. I feel like whichever party wins, whether it's the Democrats or the Republican, is going to be a coalition of anywhere from like 3 to 6 major factions. But
there's always a base, though.
That is what it takes to put you over the 50% mark.
No, but it's always a base, though. A base of Democrats always going to be people who support abortion, universal health care. Like that's the base of the Democratic Party.
No.
The base for Trump is middle America, that working class. No. That's what it was. It was, and again, I don't like using the term not college educated, but that was the base of Trump. That's the base. Now the coalition made him bigger, without a doubt, but that was
it's not college educated women. All right, like Trump got an even amount of the college educated men voted for him. It's these crazy fucking college educated women that talk. All right, but no. So there's this internal battle. All right, so I'm saying whoever wins, it's going to be a mix of like 3 to 5 factions. 2 of the factions that are up in the air that decide which party wins are going to be the 2 middle of the road factions, and the 2 middle of the road factions are. They equal like 5 to 7% each, and they are, the first is the completely uneducated, uninformed people who honestly don't have a clue what the difference between left and right is, and who knows who the fuck they're gonna vote for like year in, year out. That's one segment of the middle. The other segment of the middle is going to be what you would call like a centrist type person, who is a well-informed person, does know about policies, and they have a moral direction, but that moral direction just happens to kind of really walk the middle between the left and the right. Now, the right, when they win, just like they did in this election, the 2 main components are you're going to have your cultural conservatives, who are the traditional minded, kind of like what you were saying, what you're describing, the cultural conservatives, and then you're going to have the kind of libertarian faction, which is kind of where like a person like me is kind of more aligned in that group, right? Mm-hmm. And so there's always going to be that conflict between. It's never in a country of 350 million people that's divided by two parties, you can never just divide 350 million people into the left and the right. You know, I mean, there are going to be a couple of major factions.
Some more parties in here, Pirate. Let's throw some more parties, man.
What's that?
Let's throw some more parties, man. We need some more parties in here.
No. But see, I hate that too. I think having two parties has been a blessing and a huge strength in America, because it makes you walk the middle. And what it really does is people have this idea, oh man, there's only two parties, and I don't really agree with either of the two parties. I wish we had more parties so that there was a party that really spoke to me. That's a self-centered view, because what you get when you have that, say you had, okay, you don't have two parties. Say you have four parties. All right, well, now the party that wins is probably going to get like 30% of the vote.
Like minority
so
power,
the people who are in power actually only represent 30. Well, that's not enough parties. Let's have 100 parties. Let's put 100 parties, like extrapolate it out to the absurd maximum. If you had 100 choices per president and the person who became president got 2% of the vote,
yeah, that's tough.
Is that a good system?
And it's like you'll never get anything done, because like votes to pass legislature will be so much bargaining if you have like 5 parties. Because the party leader who's second, let's say who has the second most votes, they're like, oh, you have to give. You know, there'll be too much, almost blackmailing in a sense. I think we have too many parties for anything to really get done.
Well, now, Jalen, I know you're a Canadian and you have a preternatural instinct to defend the Westminster parliamentary system, but no, man, fuck that parliamentary bullshit. Like, let the cream rise to the top. Let the people who get into office win a majority of the votes, and then within two of the major parties, just like we were saying, the factions of the general constituencies that are going to put you over the top to win. You know, there are different on the Democrats. You have your progressive wing. You know, they're gonna make up a certain. They're gonna caucus in the Congress. So that's kind of similar to having different by name. Whether it's you have a different name for your party or not. I mean, there's going to be different ideologies within the two parties.
Of course, yeah. You never agree. If you agree 100% with one party, I just think you're a weirdo. There's no way you can ever agree 100% with one party. There has to be something you just agree with.
Yeah,
agree on the other side, right?
That's impossible.
Yeah, exactly, right? Again, some people would say, I'm like, okay, you got to figure something out. I will say that I do think the Canadian system is better in the sense of, if you have a minority win, so let's say like the Liberals won last time, they had to team up with the NDP to get their votes, get things done. With America, if you have a president that wins, but the Senate majority is the other party, to me, that's a lot of gridlock, and you can't really get anything done. Nothing substantial can ever get done.
Well, our system is built for gridlock. That's what I'm saying. And gridlock is good. Gridlock means that you're not going to swing wildly from one side to the other. Now, let's talk about your Canadian system, all right? Compared to our American system. Let's talk about your Canadian system. You have a parliament. You have a parliament with hundreds of people who every single one of those people, they only got a couple hundred votes. Like in America, we have that.
Hold on, a couple thousand.
Okay, they got a couple thousand votes. In America, we have something like that. It's called our Congress, and that's where we put the crazy wackadoodle, local drunks. The local drunk who gets 500 people to vote for him. That's his place in the federal government.
That's because our population is less. We could talk about the country's population is less. You're gonna have less people voting.
But then we also have those locally voted wackadoodles, the Congress, where all the nutcases are. But then we also have a segment, the senators. Most of the senators have to garner tens of millions of votes.
Your senators just buy elections. We don't have that problem. People actually have to win the vote of the people. You guys just buy elections. You have senators spending $20, $30, $40 million.
You say that, but then look at the results. So Jalen, you have it's a collection of people who are just locally elected. They only get a handful of votes to go into government. Let me finish this one point. You have multi-parties, so your ballots are split 3 to 5 ways on all these locally elected people. And here, get the thing: most of your people in Parliament, they did not hit 50% of their votes. So less than half the people in their constituency voted for this person, and yet the average Canadian member of parliament votes along their party lines over 97% of the time, higher than American representatives. So tell me how that makes sense. How are you putting a guy into office who only got 33% of the vote, but then that person who got 33% of the people who voted for this person voted for his party, but then he goes to government and he votes along party lines 97% of the time? That's crazy.
And look, I can understand. Look, somebody winning their seat by winning, like there's instances where they win with like 35%, 42%, because the NDP takes some votes, the Conservatives, Liberal, those are the main three. But then you have like the Green Party Green Labor. I believe it's the Green and Quebecois in some Quebec states. They'll take some votes, right? So I completely understand it. But hey, you win the most votes in your riding circuit, whatever you want to call it, you're gonna win the seat. In terms of voting for that's the thing with Canada too, though. We don't vote directly for our prime minister, right? Whoever wins the most seats, the leader of that party becomes the prime minister. So in that way, I just think
which is a plurality. It's virtually never a majority.
No, for sure, without a doubt.
Dezo, do you want your representative to get more than 50% of the vote or not?
Most of the total, but there's a majority of governments more than 50%. You're looking at exceptions for the most elections. When they win a majority, if they win most of the vote. And if you want to talk plurality,
most of your members of parliament do not win a majority. Most of them win a plurality. Most of your members of parliament, the majority of the people who voted against them.
No, but if you look at the country's vote total as a whole, so like the popular vote, most of the time, even though last election Trudeau won, but he didn't win the popular vote, most of the time the popular vote is correlated to the winning party. Most people in the country vote.
Yes, but that winning party is not a majority.
So the parliament is basically like the electoral college for the United States, or is that kind of
no? It's just like there could be 5 people running.
Yeah, it's most similar. It's basically just like our Congress. It's almost, imagine our federal government if you took away the president and the senator. It's basically
whoever
like
wins the House,
Congress.
The leader becomes the president. But hold on, there's nothing
The
wrong
Speaker
with
of the House. It's basically like the Speaker of the House is the president.
Let's say in your city, there's 5 candidates running. First place gets 42%. Second place gets 26%. Third place gets 14. Fourth gets 12. Whatever. The guy with 42% wins. He didn't get most, but he wins. Right, and he should get the seat.
And that's Jalen. That's how you get shit like Hitler. All right, because imagine if you had 4 parties. Imagine you have 4 parties on the ballot. Right, you have 4 parties. Party A, B, C, and D. All right, and imagine parties A, B, and C are pretty similar to each other, and they're all pretty normal. But party D, that's fucking Hitler. All right. So now people go out to vote. And all of the normal people split their votes between A, B, and C. And that allows fucking a crazy wackadoodle to come in and as D and actually win. Like, how do you think Hitler got into office? He got into office because he was able to go to election and he didn't get a majority of the votes, but because all of the fucking normal people split their votes between multiple parties, now you're going to let a fucking wackadoodle in.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds...
America's known for having election where the popular vote person doesn't end up winning. So I don't see...
No, well, that's what they don't end up winning the presidency because most people have no concept of the Electoral College or why it's there. They don't have any concept of what the president is. The president is not a representative of the people. The president is not the representative of the people. The president is the president of our federation of states. He's not even elected. The president is appointed by the states to be the president of the Federation of the States. Now, the states have converted to using popular vote to decide how they vote to appoint the president. And so people think that you're voting for the president. You're not.
That is technically they can switch it up, and the electorate. I mean, like I said, the electoral college or the electors, as they call them, I guess, could vote for whoever they technically want. They don't have to listen to the. They don't.
Yeah,
have to
exactly. But because he's the president is not a representative of the American population. He's the president. I think a lot of Americans do believe that. Of 50 states.
Yeah, but that's totally goes against America First Trump is the president for the people. Like, I mean, you know what I mean? Like, that's
No,
it's
but
supposed to be something.
exactly. Well, that's the fundamental difference between a lot of people on the right and people on the left. Like me personally, I'm more on the right. I'm not on the right for much less of like the cultural reasons. I'm personally on the right because I'm a decentralized government person. Like I'm a small government decentralized power person. That's why I vote.
You're more Ron Paul.
What? Yeah, exactly. Ron Paul.
Yeah. That's libertarian,
give
right?
give the power back to the states. Most power should be among the states.
You're more libertarian
Mm.
than even conservative.
I'm more libertarian.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So it's Ron Paul. Yeah, I got you. Yeah.
I mean, I'm compared to the way America is in 2024. I've kind of shifted to just by default having a conservative nature because so many people have gotten kind of crazy over the last 20 years. But yeah, like I mean, my vote goes much more towards like the structure of government. I care much more about the structure of government than the actual ins and outs that are being voted on.
Policy, it's mostly it's functioning correctly, except the structure versus the actual policy. So policy you don't like gets voted, but it follows the right structure. You're just gonna have to deal with it. It's kind of your
like I kind of fall along the lines of Calvin Coolidge said that his ideal would be that the power of the president is so small that it wouldn't really matter too much who becomes the president, because you don't have to worry about the president becoming a dictator because he doesn't have all of this power. You know, I mean, I hate shifting all of the power to the federal government and to the president because again, I look at it, that's like a self-centered view because you're only thinking, oh, let's put all the power into the federal government and hopefully it'll do everything that I want it to do and it'll do all these great things. Well, that's great if it's doing good things, but you know, you always got to think, what about the downside? What if something a bad person gets that power? You know, it's like the Lord of the Rings. You know, destroy the fucking ring.
Right? Yeah.
Hear that? I do have to go in a little bit, or basically now. And you guys want to stay? You guys keep going. If something does it, you have controls, right? So you can end it.
Yeah, I can end it.
Do your thing. All right, Pirate. It's been real. Dezo's been fun. Pirate's been fun.
Right,
this is how you have debates and still be homies. Chat. You can't just don't hate each other for different views.
Sure.
Anybody in chat want to
jump in?
Dezo, you hopping off or?
I'm here if you still want to go, we can keep going. You know what I'm saying?
We can talk a little bit. If anybody in chat have anything they want to say or any thoughts?
Shirt on Forbes has been very active in the chat, man. He's been
maybe drop the link down there if anyone wants to hop up for a couple minutes or something.
Okay, word. Did you guys already talk about in lighter news? Did you guys already talk about Trump trying to save TikTok? Is that something that you already talked about?
Talk about the what now? My audio is a little sketchy. I missed a word or two there.
Did you talk about Trump trying to save TikTok? Is that something that you guys already talked about or no?
No, we didn't. Yeah, you got any? What do you feel about all that?
I mean, it was a little bit of a shift from his views earlier. But I'm glad that he's looking at TikTok as more of a freedom of speech, freedom of expression for Americans than something that can be used against us. You know, a lot of people owe their livelihoods to TikTok. A lot of people owe their businesses. It's a great for getting yourself out there. You know, advertising, all that. So I think TikTok is. I'm
sure you know a lot more at this point. I'm an old man. I ain't never been on TikTok. I ain't got no plans of being on TikTok. I don't know what's going. So I might not understand it. From what my impression of TikTok, having never been on, is that's where like it's a younger audience, right? On TikTok, and I don't know. That's where you get kind of. I don't know. Whenever I see just like a crazy video of some emotional person having a conniption fit or a meltdown, it seems to always come from TikTok. So that's what I associate TikTok with.
Yeah, it's great for, TikTok is basically like any social media. It's a tool to use to brand yourself. Like it's brand opportunities. YouTube does the same thing where creators are allowed to create what they want. For TikTok, it's more so basically like shorter form content. Like I think your video can't be any longer than like 10 minutes. And most videos aren't 10 minutes. Like most videos
Most
are
of them are just like a minute long or something.
yeah, just like a minute or 30 seconds, so
Is it Chilltown Hoops he's got
yeah,
like a ton of
Chill's big on there.
TikTok
Chill's big on there.
followers, right?
Yeah, he has a huge TikTok following, which is crazy because I'm like he's like around your age, right, Byron? And it's like he's just on there talking hoops,
Yeah. Now, so the other, I mean, no, it's China.
Yeah, it's a Chinese based platform.
Yeah, so I mean that's the big thing that I'm pretty anti-China, anti-communist. It seems like, I mean, that's the whole argument, right? Is like TikTok is able to gather all kinds of
data on
intelligence and data.
I don't know. I don't know what Trump is going to eventually end up doing about it. But I mean, he put in the word to the Senate to try and pause because it was scheduled to be deactivated on January 16th or 19th, I believe. And now,
no, we were talking, and I was pretty happy. They were saying that China was going to have to divest if TikTok were to continue to run in America, which I supported. At the time, I'm not quite sure why Trump would change his mind on that, other than maybe just to win over the younger people,
younger crowd. But he already won them, so I don't know why.
Exactly, he already won, and so at this point, I'm like, all right, the whole courting ritual is over. Like now, it's time to just get down to business for 4 years. So
yeah, I mean, we'll
and
see.
I thought that was part of getting down to business. Get fucking TikTok out of here.
Let's see. It's is there anything else that I wanted to talk to you about? Because it's a couple of political things that I obviously I'm not.
You drop the link in the chat?
Yeah, I'll do that right now.
Yeah, just in case if anyone's been sitting out there and has anything to say. But yeah, I mean, the macro deal is here we are. It's about to be the new year, so we got the inauguration is right around the corner. We'll actually have a president, fucking Joe Biden over here. Who knows?
He comes out of hiding every once in a while to say something, and then he goes back into hiding.
Seriously, since he dropped out of the race, like
haven't seen him. Like you don't see him.
This guy.
What's something that you hope for from the Trump presidency moving forward for the next couple of years?
Well, I mean, so they got 53 seats in the Senate. So again,
he can make a lot of things happen.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be a little bit of a tightrope because I don't know if you saw with the whole the leader of the Senate. There is a faction. It's not who Trump wanted. So there is a faction of the Republican Party with only 53 seats in the Senate. If there's any real uprising or kind of going against them, it could be tough to pass some stuff. So Trump's definitely one. We all know he likes to kind of bend the rules a little bit, or at least push the rules and see
Yeah.
how far he can go. So some things might have to like go to executive action and see if it's actually legal. But it seems like coming right out of the gate, he's leading with the immigration stuff. So
Mhm.
it looks
Yeah.
like the first couple of months, probably in the news and everything, is what we'll see the battle between the White House and all of the sanctuary cities,
Mm.
in America.
Do you think
Where do you live? Atlanta?
I live in Atlanta right now? Yeah.
Is Atlanta a sanctuary city?
Um. What's the definition of a sanctuary city? Like, what does that mean?
Sanctuary cities are cities that do not cooperate with the federal government as far as reporting
Mm.
or reporting illegal immigrants. So whatever information they get, they don't share
Okay.
with the federal
Um.
government.
Honestly, I would have to look that up real quick. Hold on.
Yeah,
Is
and
it?
so a lot of these, it's basically going to be the battle narrative is going to be between Trump and the White House versus the various mayors and governors of all of the
Okay. Yeah. So Atlanta is
states.
a sanctuary city.
Atlanta, yeah, most big cities are. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Did you see the mayor of or the governor of Colorado was
No.
talking about he was, if they try to come here and deport people, will have the highway patrol and 50,000 mothers against deportation on the
Mm.
front line. Basically,
Okay.
like civil war type stuff.
Yeah, he's gonna put up a fight to keep his illegal immigrants there, huh?
Yeah, but I mean, we'll see. So I mean, I think as it's so funny, right? Because like the majority of America has the sentiment to that pretty severe action should be taken, but then
Mm.
that extreme action that needs to be taken, like most of these immigrants, they're in sanctuary cities that are not wanting to go along with the deal. So have you seen the new the border czar Homan, that guy, the tough talking
I don't believe so.
looks like he's out of a like John Wayne movie and doesn't give a shit, and he's like, yeah, well, he's like, I'll put all these mayors in jail. So
Nah,
that'd be
no.
a crazy situation if we got like all the various mayors of America getting thrown.
Hey man, if it's gonna be, see, the thing is, like, a lot of people want the power back in the states. So if that's the case, then this whole thing with Trump trying to get illegal immigration to go through these states would have to like approve it, would they not?
No,
No.
because citizenship and immigration is a federal
Oh,
issue. Yeah,
right.
so technically, the states have no leverage legally. So being a sanctuary city is not
Yeah,
like,
I was gonna say, like, how is a sanctuary city even possible then?
because what they do is they don't cooperate. So
So
it's not like,
so the federal government would have to go into these cities and actually do their research for themselves to see who's legal and who's not.
yeah, and so and I don't think there's not gonna be like gunfights or anything like that. But what it does do is it puts much more stress on ICE to do that job, because like the easiest thing would be like if the local if the local sheriffs and police and and especially if they were wanting to start out with criminals, the easiest thing is you just go to all these jails and you ask them who's undocumented, and then the jail would tell you we have these 30 guys, here they are, and that's a much simpler process, compared to if the cities and states are not cooperating. And so ICE, the federal government has to mobilize everything on their own. That costs way more in dollars and manpower because you
Right.
don't
Yeah.
have the cooperation. So it's kind of it's lame. It's a total moral stance. Like
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the best thing for the country would be if the local agencies were working with the federal government. It would run 10 times smoother. Especially at least if we could start with the the criminals. Virtually all Americans are on board with violent criminals who are
Yeah.
illegal aliens who are violent criminals being deported. Like that's like 90% approval.
Yeah. I don't
Yeah.
understand why they would keep that information away from the federal, but it's whatever. I guess if you give an inch, you gotta, sometimes they'll take a mile. So if they expect
Exactly.
you to give that information to them, then they'll expect you to give out, all right, who's not in here and who has,
And it's because they have their own constituency they have to impress, right? Like if you're in a blue city or a blue state, then like 20 to 25% of the people who voted for you are like extreme, open borders people who just they don't
right,
want
yeah,
to they don't want to give an inch going the other way. They're like 15-20%, and if you lose that 15-20%, you won't get voted back into office probably.
yeah. It's
So,
a thin line. It's a thin line, and I don't know. I feel like some of it is pride, man. Like a lot of people are just too prideful of trying to be right. Like they have to be on the right side, and it's like, really, if you're too busy trying to be on the right side, then people get hurt.
yeah, and I actually had a video that I wanted to do this episode. I guess maybe we'll do it next episode. That it's the whole compromise thing, because like now, and it's whatever side lost, like this go around the left lost. So do you know Cenk Uygur from the Young Turks? You ever seen him?
I know what the Young Turks is. What does he look like? Is he
he looks like kind of like big and fat, kind of a Persian looking guy. He's actually cool. He's one of the guys on left. I've been watching him for years.
On the programs, like is he usually on the shows for the Young Turks?
He's like the main guy from the Young Turks.
Oh, okay.
So yeah,
He's
on, if you ever watch the Young Turks, he's the guy who's on like most of the time. But he's getting shit from a lot of people on the left because since Trump won, he's been going around to more right leaning shows and forums and stuff, and his basic message is all right, we lost for whatever all these reasons are, so that's just the way it is right now. We lost, we don't have any power. What we should do is try to get things passed that everyone does agree on.
Right.
That's what I think government's there for. Government should be there for the things that like 70-80% of the people agree on. So he's like, hey, like I'm a leftist, but I'm willing to work with people on the right on like various things that a majority on both sides. Like people on the right definitely want to drop the deficit, so it's like maybe drop spending in the Pentagon, or stuff like that, where you could probably get a majority on the left and the right. But a ton of people on the left are saying, drawing a line in the sand, like you can't work with Trump because the right is, well, we've been saying Hitler and fascist for like
Right.
4 years. So it's like when they actually win, then it's like, well, you can't go and work with them, even if it's on something that you want to happen, which is
It was a lot of emotional stress that day when Trump got up to that podium after his win. You know, it was a lot of emotional stress. But I mean, a month later, everything, like I don't hear, you know, people you know, going crying about it anymore. You know what I'm saying? I just feel like people.
you mean
people
just like
need to
normal
week, you know?
everyday
People need to. Yeah.
normal everyday
people
people. Yeah,
need
because
to
I mean, but there's, you know, the people on the left who have shows that have to go on and do a show every day. They're not gonna lose the passion. So it will be. I'm really interested to see like how is the whole fascist. Can they keep it up? How long can they keep it up? Because right now, I think Trump is at his highest approval ever. Like right now, you know, like nationwide, he's never been so popular. So
yeah, we'll see, man. I think, you know, all we can really do is just, you know, just go out there and keep ourselves in mind when we go out there and do things, you know. Like Trump is Trump, but at the end of the day, he's not the dictator that everybody thinks he's going to turn into. Like it's checks and balances, you know what I'm saying? So
oh yeah, I mean that's the thing. But I mean people get fantasies in their heads that they'll be on the front lines of some civil war, and
right.
it's just it's crazy because like you can only really have a civil war like that when there's some geographical divide, you know. It's like you can't really have a civil war where everyone's all mixed up and you're just like, what, gonna go like shoot your neighbor? Like everybody decide, all right, we're gonna wear red and you're gonna wear blue, and let's go.
Right. But yeah, Pirate, that, I mean, it doesn't look like anybody's coming up.
Yeah, I think we're good.
Yeah, I think
Well, yeah, it's good to see you. Yeah. Well, you hopped on. You should hop on. You should hop on more when you got time.
Yeah, thanks for having me. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate you inviting me on.
Absolutely.
I definitely will come in and try and bring a more casual look to things, you know, ask questions that maybe not everyday people might not know what you guys are talking about. And I hope to be that voice for those people.
Well, that's the beautiful thing about politics is like no matter what you know or what your opinion is, you're someone out there is you know, is in tune with you, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
It's all just opinions are like assholes anyway, you know. So
everybody's got one. Everybody's got one.
Good to see you. Good to see you out there chatting the world and everything. And I guess Happy New Year, huh? We're only a couple hours away.
Happy New Year to everybody out there. You know what I'm saying? Hope you guys have a safe, happy New Year. Make sure you guys, you know, drink responsibly, you know, because you gotta make it home, you know.
Get an Uber. Get a Uber, get a Lyft.
Yep.
And the
Call
$20.
Yeah, make sure you guys stay safe. We'll see y'all next week. Is this the what time does is this the normal
we need
time?
to figure, you know, it's so like spur of the moment. We don't really have a sense. Hopefully we're gonna get a more rigid schedule where it can be a bit more predictable. So yeah, I actually have absolutely no idea when the next show will be, but
hey, well, make sure you guys hit that notification bell and make sure you guys, you know, so you guys know when the next episode of Pirate and Ox America will be, man. Until next time, make sure you guys tune in to No Snooze Button. Comes on every Monday and Friday. We're gonna have another show on Friday, so until then, man, stay safe.